when I'm scanning Pinterest and find an image that I love only to later find out that it's a very expensive store-bought item. That happened to my friend Amy with this headboard, but I think I found a way that we can make a budget-friendly one for her new house. For this project, we're going to need a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood cut to size, 2 1 1/4 inch foam mattress toppers, quilt batting, fabric, scissors, a straight edge, you can use a level or a yardstick, a tape measure, a fine tip permanent marker, a staple gun with staples, 3/4 inch roofing nails, 3/4 inch washers, a hammer, fabric button making kit, clear industrial strength adhesive, wire cutting pliers, a stud finder, a drill driver, and a heavy duty picture hanging cleat. And with those items, we'll be creating this for my friend Amy.
Childhood memories right here.
Who helped me out with my first project in my shop. This is what her bed looks like now, so the addition of a decorative headboard will be a big improvement. Okay, Amy, this is a lot bigger project than the yarn chandeliers you helped me with, but I think we can tackle it. This is a big old bed too, it's king size.
Yeah.
At the home center, we had our 1/2 inch plywood cut to size to match the width of Amy's king size bed. So the first thing we're going to do is cut the foam to fit it. So this is 1.25 inch foam, and we have another piece of it to put on top of it just to make it thicker.
Oh, good.
To get that deep tufted look. But if you buy like 3-inch foam at the craft store, it would have been $100 for like the length that we need.
Oh my god.
So this is just a mattress pad.
Perfect.
It's actually queen size, and it's the right length that we needed for the width of our headboard. Okay. Like, how'd they get something so big in such a tiny package? Then we definitely want to put all the lumps towards the plywood. A minor setback with using this type of foam is that the edges are not very straight, but later when we stretch the fabric over it, you'll never be able to tell. And by the way, the best thing about ending up with excess material is being able to use it for more important things.
All right, we got 2 nap mats now, so
yes,
it's time for a
one
break.
for each of us. So we need to figure out how many tufts you want.
Okay.
The little indentations. I've seen less and I've seen more.
Yeah.
I think this is right in between and is a good amount.
No, I agree. The ones with less, it doesn't look as
luxurious.
Yeah. The more, the better.
Okay. Well, we have the buttons, so we can lay them out and kind of get a visual. But before we can lay it out, we have some math to do. 77 divided by 8.
Don't look at me. I don't do math.
Me neither. That's why I'm looking for my phone.
Do you know what math stands for?
No.
Mental abuse to humans.
We'll measure and mark these, but first we need a visual. We've decided on 5 rows of buttons, with each row alternating between 7 and 8 buttons. We're also going to space each row 5.5 inches apart vertically and each button 9.5 inches apart horizontally. Let's draw horizontal lines at 5.5 inches with our straight edge. We're measuring 5.5 inches from the top of the headboard and drawing a line. This line represents the top row of buttons. From here, we'll mark 4 more lines, all spaced at 5.5 inches apart. All right, now we'll just use the tape measure and mark along the horizontals where the buttons will actually be. So every, what did we say, 9.5 inches?
9.5 inches.
Our next step is to cut little squares through our foam at each mark. Exactly. That way the buttons can get deeper and give the nice tufted look.
Tufted.
Tufted.
Awesome.
It looks kind of like something, like
modern art.
Yeah, or sheet music.
But what does it mean?
What is it? It means comfy.
So you're just cutting like a tiny square?
Mm-hmm. Exactly, right over my mark. I know there's lots of marks on here, so just go with the really big crosses.
So what keeps the button from like sinking down in there?
Well, we'll put the fabric over it before we put the buttons in.
Right.
So it'll keep it tight. Next, we're adding our batting. This material will smooth everything out, and it'll also prevent the plywood corners from tearing the fabric. So pull a little extra over there. We just need a few inches to staple it on the back. All right, and then we'll go ahead and flip it over. Okay, so we'll start on our short end over here. If you want to grab the stapler. This is a step where a second pair of hands really comes in handy. While one person pulls the batting tight, the other staples it a few inches apart around the entire board. It's looking good from the back. Once the batting is all stapled down, cut out the excess with a pair of scissors. Now we need to take our finger and poke a hole through the batting into all the holes. We're poking through the batting at every hole. This stuff is thin enough, you can just use your finger. Goochie, goochie, goo. I'm easily amused. What do you think about the fabric?
I love it. It's perfect.
Okay. This is the fun part, or the weird part, is that we're going to use nails and washers.
Oh, really?
It doesn't sound comfy,
No.
but it'll push the tufts down far enough, and then we'll cover them with pretty buttons. You can see just putting your finger in how it kind of creates the diamond pattern with the fabric going that way.
Cool.
Okay, so we're going to skip a row and do all the matching rows before we do the 2 rows in between.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just a little tricky to get started without hitting your fingers. This, by the way, is not easy. It might even work better to use something like a pair of needle nose pliers to get the nails started. But take your time and be careful. I don't want any pulsing giant red thumbs. All right, I think that is not going anywhere. We're using nails instead of screws. Screws would spin as they drive through the fabric and batting, causing the fabric to twist up and bind, which would lead to some pretty unattractive results. And the washers that we're using match the diameter of our buttons. This is important because it allows the buttons to fit perfectly into place.
Okay, Chelsea, I'm getting nervous. All this like extra fabric. How does this come together?
Stick your finger in that hole because we haven't done the middle rows and see.
Oh.
See, and then you kind of fold the fabric the way we want it.
Oh.
Should tighten
That
it up.
is so cool. Wow, that's gonna look good.
So in a way, you want the extra fabric so that you have room
Right. Okay, I see. Oh, that looks great.
to fit for a queen. Queen Amy of Pug Nation. Now that all of the nails are set, it's time to tighten up the fabric on the edges. With the headboard on its side, I'm creating a new fold from each outside button to the edge, while Amy staples the fabric in the back. I always like to save the corners for last. Carefully overlap the fabric as tightly as possible and then secure in place with several staples. All right, let's see what it looks like. Oh, it looks great.
I'm impressed.
Okay, now all we have to do is put some buttons over our nail holes.
Awesome.
These fabric button kits are neat and super simple. Cut out a piece of fabric following the provided template. Set the front half of the button face down onto the fabric and then press it into the plastic tray. At this point, the fabric sort of gathers around it. Just push it back in, and then take the back half of the button and lay it on top of the folded over fabric and press. Finally, just flip it over and push the button out. Pretty cool. And now, repeat this about 40 times. Before attaching the buttons to the headboard, we're removing the metal hooks on the back, since those will just get in our way. We're using a heavy-duty clear adhesive, adding enough glue so these buttons will stay permanently attached to the headboard, but not too much where the adhesive can leak out onto the fabric when you push it in place. Trust me, removing glue from fabric isn't easy. All right, I think the buttons really polish it off.
Oh my gosh, it looks so good. I can't wait to see it on the wall.
All right, let's go hang it.
All right, so here it is. You can see I desperately need
Yes.
something.
Okay, so let's go ahead and run the tape between the windows and get our center.
It's right about 109.5.
109.5. Oh man, here comes the math again. 109, 150. After marking the center, we scan for wood studs on either side for our cleat to attach to. our final step, attaching the opposite side of the cleat to the back of the headboard. Okay, moment of truth after all this work.
Oh my gosh, that looks great.
Oh my gosh, Amy,
That
looks great.
so good.
Now Amy is on her way to creating the bedroom of her dreams. Hope you enjoy this project. Thanks for checking in. I've got so many projects to share with you, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my next episode.